What's going on, guys? Seven Shoguns here with another episode of Weekly Nerdy News, the podcast where we talk about everything going on within the world of movies and video games. This week, I'm your host, Ben, and today I am not alone. I'm joined with another guest this time. Why don't you go ahead and tell us who you are?
Hello, folks. Just your normal, average, everyday working class citizen. My name is Dio, for all intents and purposes, Dio Sama, for those who care. But yeah, so I'm here with my friend Ben, and we're just going to talk the shit and hope you guys enjoy.
Very soft-spoken, my friend. Very soft-spoken guy.
Fuck you.
Exactly. So we're gonna go over some movie news first. The biggest thing in movie news this week has to be the Star Wars title drop. We've been wondering for months what's it gonna be called. Legacy of the Force, The Last Jedi Temple, all this other stuff. But no, Lucasfilm dropped on their Twitter on, I believe it was Monday or Tuesday. They finally dropped the title for Episode 8, and it is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. What do you think of that?
It is the most epic sounding title for that series that I think I've ever heard.
The most
I'm
epic.
really excited. Yeah, I'm really excited for it. It is The Last Jedi. And one thing I you might have to edit this part out, but one thing I didn't really like about the Last Jedi movie, just based on the premise, is that like it feels very much like I compare it to the Lord of the Rings in that both are more or less science fantasy stories.
Yeah.
The last one felt very much like again, making my Lord of the Rings comparison, like you have this magical realm, except because of the limited amount of Jedi in it, you basically have nothing but orcs, humans, and bows and arrows. No wizards, no Gandalf, just probably one magical villain dude, Sauron, and a bunch of humans with sticks. And
But
it
they don't have
felt,
sticks. They're freaking. They're in space. They have like laser, beams and stuff.
well, yeah, and I guess to make the comparison again, like with bows and arrows instead of like with magic. It's like I guess what I'm trying to say in not so many words is the magical element was very limited, and a lot of the story just was not focused on that, which is the hook for me personally. Whereas with this next movie coming out, I feel like even though the magical element is going to be limited considering it's the Last Jedi, I feel like it'll be the focus, A, and then B, the stakes are high. So it's the Last Jedi.
So you're
And we
talking
get
about.
to and we get to see like some more background on like the new character and her relationship with Luke and all that goes along with that.
So you're talking about the last one you didn't like was Force Awakens or Rogue One.
Rogue One.
Okay. Yeah. I mean that one definitely. That was kind of the whole point of it, right? Was it was about rebels, and so it was a bunch of gunslingers, and people who don't have any powers. I remember they made a point specifically to show like, hey, there's not a lot of Jedi in this time, because in that time frame, Vader and the Emperor hunted most of them down, so there weren't a lot of Jedi, and Luke was sort of the first one besides Obi-Wan to come back into the limelight. So that was kind of the whole point of the movie. But no, I definitely feel you. If you like Star Wars to be more of a fantastical journey, the Jedi certainly make it fantastical because it's like this, space samurai wushu inspired thing. And when you don't have that element, it's kind of like, well, what's the point,
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah, but I would say though I do like it only because spoilers for Rogue One. Hopefully you've seen it by now, but at the very end of that movie, Vader is there and he's kicking ass. So it kind of makes him seem more powerful because he's the only person in that movie that can do that to that level. I mean, you had Chirrut Inway, who was Donnie Yen's character, but he wasn't on the level of Vader, And so having him there with the red lightsaber and kind of mowing down all those rebels I think it makes that moment more poignant because it's just him. There is no one else. There's no Obi-Wan or Yoda or anybody.
I mean, I get that. I get what you're saying, but like from my perspective, I want an entire movie of that.
Of just Vader killing fools.
No, not just Vader specifically, just Jedi's killing fools and having it like high stakes epic type narrative behind it.
So I have a question for you because this is something that has sort of been floating around the rumor mill for a while. Is that we might get a Boba Fett or like a bounty hunter movie, like one of the spin-off films they're making, right?
Right.
Because Star Wars has been about that for a very long time. It's been about space wizards with laser swords, fighting other space wizards with laser swords, with other stuff happening in the background. So it's kind of like this is sort of a chance to move away from that and do something different. Would you be interested in that kind of movie? Because I mean, if they make a bounty hunter movie, presumably there isn't, just like Rogue One. There's not going to be any Jedi or lightsabers in it at all. It's just going to be blasters and bounty hunters and rogues. Would you want to watch that kind of movie? Because I mean, I don't know. I think that's interesting because we've had that for like 6 movies. To have something else is cool to me, but I mean, would you want to watch that kind of movie?
Personally, no, but I would watch it anyway just to see what was, the big deal about it. Like I said, the magical fantasy sword samurai illusions that they make in the series, that's the hook for me. I mean, anything beyond that, it's basically Star Trek.
It's just filler.
Yeah.
What about Han Solo? He's cool.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, I feel like he's only as cool as like his witty banter, which again I can get in pretty much anywhere else, and whatever gun he's using.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. We'll have to see. They're making a Han Solo movie, right?
Yeah, I heard about that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not that excited for it just because I like Han Solo a lot. I think he's a great character, but a movie about him and his origin, like he's kind of a rogue. Like, doesn't matter where he came from. It's that he's here now and he's kind of a badass. That's sort of what that's sort of what draws me to that character. So making a movie about his backstory seems kind of off to me, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to it. I think it has potential of being really funny, just because the directors are pretty funny guys. So
Yeah, I mean, whatever they do, whether I agree with it or not, I believe in the creative talent behind it. So I'll always just check it out just to see. But again, it's not within my preference.
okay. Well, just getting back on topic then. So the Last Jedi, though, that seems to be what you're into because that's, I mean,
Yeah, that is
presumably.
well within my wheelhouse. Like, just focus entirely on, like you said, that last scene, but like with Ray instead, and make a whole movie about that. God damn it, I don't
Well,
care. I'll pay.
so presumably, I mean, the title is called The Last Jedi, so that would mean Luke, right? I mean, Luke is literally the Last Jedi, or do you think it means something else?
Well, what I got from it was like maybe Luke was, I guess, stepping down from the public eye or whatever, or something's gonna happen to him, and he's just gonna leave all the responsibility of just passing on anything to do with the Jedi to Rey,
Right.
and she's gonna be the last Jedi, and it's just gonna be her struggle from that point on, or something like that.
So you think maybe Luke gets taken out, you know what I mean, and then she has to kind of carry the mantle of the Jedi going forward.
Yeah, and they kind of hinted at like this struggle between um in the last movie, The Force Awakens, like this whole evil force having to do with like the Knights of Ren, which again, just absolutely love that whole concept. It's just a bunch of bad knights slash Jedi space warrior dudes out there fucking shit up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna have a lot. The newest movie coming out is gonna have a lot to do with just dealing with that
Sure.
and that whole evil entity. And I feel like Luke, no offense to old people, but he's probably well past his prime at this point. He's probably going to have to make some major sacrifice in order to progress Ray, and at the same time, the just the light side of the Force going forward. So again, I
Yeah,
feel like this is going to be more her movie than anything.
yeah. I mean, I don't know. I think that's like that would definitely be the obvious answer, and I think that's what people are expecting. Like, okay, we got introduced to this character, well, now I want to see what she can do, right? So, it being about her
Yeah,
journey and her going forward, becoming a Jedi, that seems to be the logical step. But I don't know. I was seeing some good rumors about, or not rumors, but I guess theories about the idea that like, no, Luke is definitely the last Jedi. In Return of the Jedi, Yoda says to Luke, last of the Jedi you will be, right? Like he's gonna be the last of the Jedi, and then Snoke refers to him as Luke Skywalker, the last Jedi. So it seems to be that means him. But then I saw some stuff going around that like Kylo Ren and Snoke aren't Sith, right? They're just dark side users. There's something else. They're the Knights of Ren. They aren't Sith. There's something else.
right, right.
So like having Rey be something else also might fit that theme better because they aren't Sith. She's not a Jedi. They are something else entirely. And the old ways of
Oh,
Jedi and Sith have died off. Now there's new factions of Force users. I don't know. I kind of like that too because I think also too one of the reasons with the prequels, as much as everyone hates them, I think the prequels did a good job of showing that the Jedi Order actually isn't that great. They're kind of a bunch of assholes that like can't love anything and they just sit around and talk about metachlorians all day. And that
yeah, yeah.
that might not be the correct way of living your life, right? You can be a Force user and still love, still have adventures, still do stuff. So imagine the idea of Rey like having a lightsaber, being a Force user, but then not being a Jedi, so she can have more, I guess, romantic, fun adventures. I don't know. That sounds kind of cool to me. So we have to wait and see if Luke died. If Luke is the last Jedi, and then he dies off, the Jedi are gone, right? The legacy dies with him. I'm curious if they're gonna go that route, or like you were saying, she'll just continue that line of being a Jedi and being a Skywalker. I don't know, whatever.
I mean, I feel like that's where what I was stating is probably what they're going to do, but I'm 1,000 times more interested in what you just suggested. So I'm hoping that would happen instead.
Yeah, what if she like becomes a bounty hunter? And she's like a yellow
Oh,
lightsaber.
that'd be freaking
So
awesome.
she like is like yeah, she's like a Force user with lightsaber, but she's also a bounty hunter, and she just goes around hunting down people with like Force
Yeah, she's
powers.
like a rogue samurai for hire or something.
Yeah, she's
A
like a
space
Ronin,
samurai. Oh, that'd be epic.
Space Ronin. That's it right there.
Yeah.
Disney, you can quote me right there. That's it. Space Ronin. That's episode 9. Space Ronin. That's what they're gonna call it. That's
Oh
it.
my God. That. Oh, they need to
Totally.
make that happen.
All right, cool. So as far as other movie news this week, we have a couple of releases. Well, actually, one big one, which was Resident Evil: The Final Chapter. That came out Friday, and is the last movie supposedly, air quotes,
Supposedly.
right, in the Resident Evil franchise. Now, I'll be honest with all of you out there. I did not watch this movie. I'm
I didn't
sorry.
watch it either.
I didn't see it. Just like last week with Triple X Xander Cage, I couldn't bring myself to see it. I couldn't do it. It's. I mean, I haven't seen it, so I don't know if it's terrible. But everything I've heard from reviewers and everything saying it's terrible, and the past films being pretty terrible, I just couldn't bring myself to see it. So I saw something else instead. You want to know what I saw?
No.
All right, moving on then. No,
I'm just kidding, man. I'm just being. Yeah. What'd you see?
what? Yeah. So okay. So yesterday, I actually went to go see La La Land.
Oh wow. How was that?
Yeah, it was actually freaking awesome. There's been a lot of buzz about that movie because it's gotten like all these nominations for the Oscars
Like
this
literally
year.
all the nominations, like literally all the awards. Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, best actor, best actress, best picture, best sound, best song, like just best everything. So I was like, well, shit, let me go see this movie. So I went to go watch it. And yeah, it's really fucking good. It's really good.
like, because it gives off the impression of being like a musical. Like, is it a musical or is it a movie or is it
Well, it's definitely a musical. That is what it is. But
cool?
so here's the thing, right? And
Right.
I think I speak for most people. Okay, I'm not a fan of musicals. You know, unless it's like a Disney film, and even then, I don't like musical movies. And the main reason I don't like them is because I feel like the way the plot progression works in musicals, you have the story, okay, and then the story goes, and then it kind of comes to a halt because they want to play a song, and to make it epic, they do this big grand production. They have a song, but the song doesn't push the story forward. It's just this like, hey, let's stick with this right now, and then the story goes forward again after the song, and they keep going, and they stop again and play another song, you know. So it kind of like
Yeah.
breaks up the flow of the movie, and I hate that. I don't. I like a continuous narrative, right? The song should be building into the plot and what's happening.
Yeah, yeah, I'm inclined to agree with you on that. That's literally every gripe I have with those as well.
Yeah, and
It's just like
so
you could like most of the stuff they sing, they could probably just do with a conversation. It will
yeah,
take a
just
minute.
just tell me what's
Because
happening.
with
Don't
a
freaking
song, it
sing it
takes
to
like
me for
5 minutes.
right. Yeah, like just say it. So with La La Land, it is a musical, but it does that well. Like where the songs don't just not just there for song's sake. Some songs are there and it's just like beautiful music, but like I think the biggest thing this movie does is the music actually is part of the story. So when they're playing a song, things are happening, the story's going forward, and I think the biggest thing is because it's music. Music tends to be able to do this with people. It brings out an emotional response from you, and that can be happiness, sadness, excitement, whatever. But music is tied to an emotional moment of the character. So if someone's sad, they're playing a song, and that song in turn makes you feel sad. You know, so like I feel like you're deeper connected with that character than you would be without the music.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think that's the power of a musical when it's done really, really well. It's because, you know, beyond the visuals looking awesome and you're like, that looks awesome, because song tends to kind of get, you know, inside of us and like gets in our heads and then we kind of sing it along, you know? I feel like we are more attached to what's happening because the song is catchy and what's happening is really cool. So I think it's like a double whammy in that sense.
Oh, that sounds like something worth watching then.
Yeah, no, it's like super good. But like the thing is like think about this movie because so like I watched it, and to be honest, I haven't really watched many reviews for the movie at all. I just kept hearing that it's good, so I went to watch it, and then afterwards I was working on my review, which I'm putting out on this channel. Look out for it soon. But I saw a bunch of other people reviewing the movie, and all of a sudden I saw this thing where like some people love it, and some people hate it. They're like, this movie is not as good as everyone says it is, and because everyone's saying it's good, I hate it. And I'm like, what the like? Why? Like, why is everyone hating on this movie? And it has to do with the plot, and I don't want to get into the ending of the movie, but basically the film I think comes off as a love story. I think that's how it's sold. If you watch the trailers and stuff, it's sold as a love story.
Yeah, I got that impression too.
But the film is actually not about love at all, or it's about love, but not for like other people. It's
Is
about
it
love.
about love for music?
Well, it's about love for what you do, right? Not necessarily music. So
Right.
it's really about passion or drive, you know, um, ambition, right? If you have a dream and you have something you want to do with your life, it's about those people, the dreamers in the world, right? That want to do something with their lives, want to do something big, and they will stop at nothing to achieve that goal. This movie is really for them. It's for people that, you know, don't want to go to a 9 to 5 all day and hate themselves. You know what I mean? It's the people that want to
Yeah.
they want to make it big in the world and accomplish their goals, accomplish their dreams. And what does that mean when that's the number one thing in your life? You know, not other stuff. You know, and that I think that even includes love for other people. Right? Is that it's important as accomplishing your dreams? That's what the film to me is really about. And I feel like when you look at it like that and you connect to that, because I think people that watch this movie that feel that way, like I feel like to some extent I feel that way. You know, where I have dreams of being a YouTube celebrity or whatever. You know, making that YouTube greatness. and people kind of say that's stupid. You can't make money on YouTube, and like I kind of feel that way where I'm like, well, no, I want to try. I want to do this. I want to do this, and I feel like I connect to the characters more because I really feel where they're coming from, and I feel like other people in the industry or who have dreams of whatever, I think connect with it more and they like it a lot more. Versus I think people that are kind of like, I wouldn't say plebs, you know what I mean? They're not like lesser people or anything, but I think people that don't feel that way about their passions, and like love is more important to them or something like that, they I think aren't gonna like it because the way the movie ends, I don't think they will really get it. Know what I'm saying?
I get it. I get what you're saying.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like I said, besides the story as far as how it ends, just technically, like every shot of this movie is freaking beautiful. The use of color, the use of lighting, the camera work and how they move it around, the music, the songs too.
I
It's
heard
just
John Legend was in it too.
yes, John Legend is in it. He actually is an
Like,
actor
how
in
is
the
he in it? Is he
uh,
like good or is he?
oh yeah, it's pretty good. I mean, that's the thing. There's no one in this movie that is like bad at all. I mean, the main stars are the main two, Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone, but the other supporting cast
Sylvester
members.
Stallone?
Sylvester Stallone, no, he's not in the movie. Um,
Fuck.
yep, no Rocky Balboa, uh, no Rambo, but yeah, like it's just well acted. I think all the nominations it's getting, it totally deserves them. Now I don't know if it's gonna win all those nominations, but just getting nominated, I think definitely deserves every single award it can get. It is truly a love letter to Hollywood and cinema, and then like I said, anyone that's a dreamer that has ambition for anything in life.
Okay. That sounds like a definitely a worthwhile movie. Definitely
Yeah,
gonna
man,
check it out in the near
just
future.
go, just go fucking see it. Go see it right now.
Or I can't see it right now. I'm doing this thing.
Nah, man, this is the one time I'll tell you this is actually not as important. You should stop doing this podcast right now and go watch this fucking movie.
No, fuck that.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, so I saw that, and I'm actually doing a two for one special this weekend. Um, Today I'm actually gonna go see Split as well. So
Oh, okay, yeah.
look,
With
yeah,
the multiple personalities guy.
yeah. So look out for two reviews from me in the coming week. La La Land, which is awesome, but also Split, and I want to see Split too because I think it's fitting with the Resident Evil theme, right? Seeing another horror movie, or the Resident Evil, I wouldn't consider a horror movie. It's more like a dumb action comedy, but I mean, pretty much.
Horror inspired themes.
Yeah, I mean, maybe, but yeah, but Split though, from what I've heard, is definitely a horror movie, or definitely I'll say a suspense movie, and I'm looking forward to it. There's a big thing with the twist at the end, and what that means for M. Night Shyamalan fans, and M. Night Shyamalan made this movie, so this might be a return to form
Right.
for him because he's been making some pretty shit movies lately. So this could be him coming back. Well, I wouldn't say coming back, but him starting to go in the right direction of making good movies again. So
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah, I have I'm very curious about this movie too. Only
yeah.
because like the whole twist ending that people who've seen the movie are like, "Oh my gosh, you got to see it. I did not expect this whole thing." Like a coworker almost spoiled it for me because she thought I'd seen it.
Jeez. Yeah, you gotta be careful
Yeah.
with those spoilers, man. That shit's not safe.
Yep. Like I kind of love these types of movies, and I kind of hate them too because it's like you can't just like not see them if you're remotely curious about them.
Yeah, I mean, the big thing with me is, I'm not a fan of horror movies at all. I'm just not a fan of scary movies. I'm a fan of action and comedies. That's my thing. Guy Ritchie,
Right.
his movies, that like stuff like that. That's what I like.
Yeah.
So, I typically wouldn't see this movie at all. So I actually spoiled myself. I know what happens.
What?
Yeah, well, because I wasn't gonna see it, so I was like, well, let me just see what happens because I'm kind of curious, but I'm not gonna see it anyway. And when I found out what it was, I was like, wow, that's so cool. I have to see it. Like I have to break my own rule and watch this movie.
That's weird. Okay, well, whatever makes you happy, man.
Yeah,
What?
which I know is backwards, but like, but no, but that's kind of how I feel. Like I wouldn't have seen this movie anyway, but because the movie, like because the twist and what it means for M Night Shyamalan and his fans and stuff, it's so fascinating to me that I'm like I have to see this movie now. I really do. Um, and yeah, definitely if you like M Night Shyamalan's movies, you've seen all his films. I think you'll definitely enjoy this one. And you definitely should go see it if you're a fan of his at all. You should definitely go see it.
All right, but one question.
Sure.
You don't like scary movies,
Nope.
I'm assuming because they're scary.
Yeah, of course.
Did this movie scare you?
I'm a little bitch. Well, you said you said did it scare me?
I'm asking, did it scare you?
Well, I haven't seen it yet, so I don't know.
Oh, I thought you saw it.
No. I spoiled it for myself. I looked up what the
What
ending
the
was.
twist was.
Yeah. And I was like, that's awesome. So now I want to go see it and torture myself and go through that painful, scary process just to get to the ending.
God, you're such a little bitch. What the hell?
Ah, come on, man. It's just
God,
really
you're such a
scary. Come
fucking
on,
bitch.
man.
What the hell?
Nah, it's just kind of scary to me, man. Come on.
Hey, you're an artist, right? Why don't you draw yourself a pair of nuts?
Well, I mean, no, but yeah. So, have you seen his other movies? Have you seen his stuff?
I've seen a few of his stuff. I saw, um, what was that name? It was like this one movie that M. Night Shyamalan did. It was like
Yeah.
something to do with like some devil trapped in an elevator and some people trapped along with it.
I think it's literally called The Devil.
Oh, wow. So, yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, that answers that question.
yeah,
So I know I saw one other thing that he did beyond just the whole Avatar debacle.
yeah.
I
That
just
the
can't remember it.
movie was terrible. The Last Airbender.
Yeah, I couldn't get through all of it.
Yeah, it's really sad because I'm a huge fan of the TV show. Me and my
Yeah,
dad
it's
actually
same.
used to watch the movie to like, I mean, watch the show to bond. That was what we did like every Friday, wherever it came on. We watched
Yeah.
it together. So we were so excited to see The Last Airbender. So when we went to go to the theater, I remember watching it being like, like, what's happening? Like, how can it be this bad? And me and my dad were so disappointed. Like we literally were like, why would they do this? Like, this is such a good show, and they just ruined it basically. Um, that was
Yeah, and like part of me just feels that he wasn't really invested in this series at all. Like I remember watching this one interview. It's like his daughter or whatever saw the series and he asked him,
yeah.
Dad, you should make this into a movie or whatever. And he's just like, yeah, sure, I love you, sweetie. And it just came across as like I'm just doing this for my daughter slash
Yeah.
people love everything that I do, so I can just do whatever I want. And
Yeah.
this just was not one of those things.
That's what's so frustrating about it though is, I mean, people that are fans of the series hate it. Like they hate that movie. So like that
Yeah,
wasn't
I
really
mean, it's like it's
for
hated across the board.
yeah. So like I'm sure. I mean, I don't know his daughter, but I'm sure she's like, Dad, what the fuck? That movie was bad. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
yeah, I'm kind of curious about his relationship with his daughter now too.
Yeah, it's probably
Because like
totally strained. It's just they don't talk to each other anymore. It's just ruined now.
yeah, I hope that's what happened. But anyway, it's just like, but back to your question, I don't really watch that many now that I think about it of his movies.
Yeah.
So
Well, okay.
that was the
So
only thing that I remember.
yeah. So going through them, the first one he did was The Sixth Sense. And
Oh
that
yeah,
was
yeah, I saw that
I
way
see
back
dead.
when.
I see dead people. That one.
Yeah.
And then after that, he made a movie called Unbreakable, which is like it's basically like a superhero movie before superhero movies even were like a thing. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's actually kind of a cool film. And then after that, he made Signs, which is where the aliens came down with the signs and the corn crops, all that.
Oh yeah, with Keanu Reeves. That's the other movie that I had seen that he made. Or that's
Well,
the movie, right?
no, there's no. He's not in it. It has Mel Gibson in it.
Wait, Mel Gibson. Fuck,
Yeah.
I was confusing it for something else. Never mind.
Yeah, that's Matrix. Well,
Like he
No, it's
was
not.
Keanu Reeves was in like this one movie where he's like this alien disguised as a human warning mankind at the
Oh, that's
end.
I think that's something like the day the Earth stood still, like or like the
Yeah, that
day of
is
tomorrow or something
exactly
like
the
that.
title. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I saw
yeah,
that one. I
yeah.
was assuming you were talking about that. No,
Nah,
I yeah.
that's not M Night. But so after Signs, he made The Happening. I'm pretty sure that's the one he made after that. And that movie was actually terrible. Everyone hated it.
What's funny is I wanted to watch that movie so bad. I never have, and people kept saying it sucked. And it's like it's one of those movies where it sounds interesting. It sounds so interesting that I sometimes have dreams where I'm reenacting what I imagine that movie would be and how epic it would
What?
be.
What? You haven't even seen it
Yeah,
then.
I mean, it's like it sounds so cool to me. I don't know why. It's just like this whatever force or something is causing people to commit suicide, and you have a character who's struggling to fight whatever this is.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I've never seen it before. I actually haven't seen most of his movies, except for The Last Airbender, and then I was like, nope, never again. But yeah, so but like I said, I've heard The Happening is terrible. I've never seen it, but apparently that's the overall consensus that it's just shit.
Yeah,
And then after
what's
that,
funny is like I had a dream, this one dream once where I was like again reenacting what I think the movie would be about.
yeah,
I'm walking like into this abandoned house from like the perspective of a main character in a movie.
yeah,
Like I see all the windows just bashed through, and then I hear this thumping sound, and I turn over to like this living room area or whatever.
yeah.
It's like just this old lady banging her head through a door, and like she's like really going into it, like trying to put her head through the damn thing.
What the
And
fuck?
I'm thinking to myself, oh my god, she's trying to kill herself by crushing her brain. She's already done with the windows. Now she's moved on to doors, and I just run out in terror.
I mean,
Like it
wouldn't you
was
like
so
help her?
fuck.
Like, what the? What do you mean you guys gonna run away? Like, what the heck, dude?
Like I can't help her because this force is committing or forcing people to commit suicide is taking a hold of her. There's nothing I can do.
No, just move her away from the wall.
Nah, man.
What? No, no, just she's in a wheelchair, right? Just literally just roll her away from the wall.
No, she's not in a wheelchair. She's standing, and she's just like going to town on this wall or door.
Oh, I don't know, just I don't know, shoot her or something. You know?
Fuck you. That sounds like I don't know about you, but that sounds fucking epic and weird and scary and
All right, well then,
like I woke up was like, oh, that movie's gonna be so good.
well, go see it. Go see it and let me know. Let me know if it's good or not.
Yeah, shatter my own expectations. All right.
But yeah, definitely. I'd say yeah. I mean, definitely go see it. Watch his other films. So all right, let's move on real quick. So going into Resident Evil and everything, moving on past that, into video games, Resident Evil Golf also got a video game release this week with Resident Evil 7. The next big game in the main titled series came out on Tuesday. This one's pretty big because we haven't had Resident Evil since 6. And this one is like totally different. It's first person. It can be played in VR. So it's been getting a lot of buzz this week. And have you played it or have you seen it at all?
I have not played it, but I've seen gameplay and reviews of it. It looks really, really good,
Yeah, this one looks absolutely horrifying. It kind of
which
reminds
I'm
you of
sure
the
you don't approve of, but it's cool.
yeah. I mean it's scary, but yeah, but it reminds me of that PT demo that came out a few years ago. They kind of you're in like a cramped hallway and it's first person, everything's dark and it's scary. Definitely has vibes of that kind of survival horror. So it's interesting. It's kind of cool though because Resident Evil as a series has moved more towards action, and less horror. It's in more of like a action movie, much like the Resident Evil movies have
Yeah,
been. So
yeah.
this one is saying, okay, screw that. We're gonna go back to survival horror, and everyone I've seen play it or heard about just in playing it has said they definitely feel that it definitely is a real survivor horror game. Not just because things are scary, but like there's a really good balance of like weapon management. You know, you'll get like so many bullets, and you have to use them wisely. You have to actually try and survive, and rummage through, floors and cupboards and that kind of stuff to get the materials you need to survive. So it definitely seems like a really fun time. You know.
Yeah, I got that impression too. When I was watching the gameplay, it sort of reminded me of that one game. What's it? It's Dead Space, where it's like,
Oh yeah.
yeah, you're in a hallway, you're shooting, mowing down. I mean, yeah, it's true to form to like the older Resident Evil games, but it just gave that kind of Dead Space feel where it's like something fucked up is gonna fuck you up, and you just have to shoot your way. You
Yeah.
have to shoot your way out of that situation, and it's just like, wow, like
Yeah.
we've come full circle.
Yeah. Well. Plus, also too, I think with Dead Space, that was one of the first ones that kind of were like that. But it's also like a third-person space game. So, that's kind of that. I think it definitely pulls from that, but it still feels different just because you're in like this random mansion in the middle of, I believe it's in Louisiana. Is where you are.
Yeah, some hick place.
Yeah, totally. Someplace in the south. So it looks fascinating. And from what I've heard, playing it in VR isn't like a totally different experience. But as far as the intensity, it definitely ramps up. It's way more intense. So if you're a thrill seeker, you like having your heart jump out of your freaking chest, you can definitely try playing it in VR and see what that's like.
Yeah, yeah, I can see where like the experience can get heightened with VR, just because of like you're in a hallway, your senses aren't exactly, or your senses are in tune, but like there's not a lot of information in your environment to go off of, and you got this weird, again, fucked up creature trying to fuck you up, coming
Yeah.
at you, and then it's just like you're scrambling to figure out, what to do, what ammo you got, just trying to survive basically.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because you're right there. You can't even like put your hands out and be like, no, stop. You have to just keep your hands on the controller and keep playing. But you're literally in the environment. So,
Yeah.
it's
And what's interesting, I heard in a review, it's like if you play it on a normal console, like the aiming system isn't as precise as it would be if you were playing VR, because it's usually like using your hand as the line of sight versus
Right.
like an analog stick.
yeah,
I guess the game is tailor made in that kind of way for like it to be realistic in a VR sense, which I thought
oh,
was interesting.
right. So you're saying like when you point your hand at the thing, you actually are pointing your gun. So it's more like a motion control kind of thing.
Yeah, or
Yeah.
like that's the impression I got.
Yeah, no, I'm pretty sure you're right. Yeah, like I said, I think it makes it more intense, and for someone like me, fuck that. I'm not playing that.
Yeah, I call you a bitch and I give you a hard time, but like I could not get through Dead Space when I played it, or at least not alone.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. Like, imagine that, but now you're in VR. So now you're actually in that hallway. You actually have to point your gun and shoot these weird baby crawly things.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that much better either or, because like the shit just like when I played Dead Space, it was just so freaking scary. Like I'm the type of person that likes to set the mood when I do anything horror. It's like I like to have all the lights turned off, play it at night. If I'm playing with a friend, we try to keep the noise down so we can be in the moment.
Nah, man. See, that's one of those games. Like, if we're playing this and someone comes up and like taps me on the shoulder, they're getting knocked out. They're getting taken out no matter what. There's nothing. I'm sorry. I can't control myself. You're getting taken out. You should have known better. There's no
You're a
way.
terrible fucking person.
Nah, man, it's their fault. Why would they? I'm in a very stressed situation. All right, I'm very heightened right now. Why would you kind of mess with me like that? You know what I mean? There's no way. You're definitely catching these hands.
What the fuck, man? It's just a game.
Nah, it's more than that, man. It is VR. But actually, I forgot to mention something as far as movies. Real quick, we're going back to movie news. We're very professional podcast here, so that's it's fine. the Flash movie, they are getting a page one rewrite, Jesus, this
You can
week.
do it.
So I wanted to go over that
Yeah,
too.
I think it's unfortunate.
I think it's freaking insane, dude. Like, you know, every movie or film franchise has its like faults, but the DCCU right now, like, it's just had so many like just things go wrong, and so many stories about leaving, stories not getting done, actors not wanting to
Yeah.
do it. It's just like, what is going on over there, you know?
Well, yeah. Full disclosure, you know this, but to the fans, I'm a huge DC fan. I mean, I like Marvel, but DC was my first, or DC comics were my first comics to read, so I have a strong bias towards them. And I look at what Marvel's doing, cinematically speaking. I look at what DC's doing, and it's just hard for me because
Sure, yeah.
it's just like I see Marvel, just doing it right, and I see DC struggling. And I'm sure fanboys would probably crucify me for saying this, but like DC really is the inspiration to a lot of what Marvel does. And to see Marvel do it right or get it right, and to see DC like just fumble almost at every step when they really shouldn't be, it's heartbreaking because like out of the two properties, DC's the last property to be treated like this. Because
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Yeah, I mean, well, see, here's the way I look at it, and regardless of how you feel, which comic book company, like if you like Marvel Comics or DC Comics better. Personally, I like Marvel, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter about the actual characters of the story. Is I think all of this is business, and I think the thing is Marvel when they made that first Iron Man movie, that was a movie made out of necessity because they're basically going like out of business. They were losing hard to DC and other companies. So
right.
they had to kind of start small and build it up. So by the time you got to Avengers, you've already built up like 5 movies of these characters. So when the Avengers happen, you don't have to explain who they all are. You don't have to like build that up again. You already know that. So that goodwill and trust was built, and the hype was kind of building for the past a couple years. By the time you get to Civil War, you've done that like 2 more times. So now it's like you've been building this goodwill and these good movies and this hype each and every movie. So when you get to Civil War, you don't have to explain, oh, why is Iron Man fighting Captain America? It's like, no, I already know that because I know who Iron Man is. I know who Captain America is, right?
Right,
So
right.
that is a very well built building, right? It has a good foundation and they've been building it brick by brick to get to the top. The problem I think with Warner Brothers, not necessarily DC Comics, I mean like Warner Brothers, people that own them right now cinematically,
Right.
and the other studios that have been trying to do this, like a Fox and everything, they only see the end result. They just see the Avengers. They just see Civil War, and they're like, "That looks awesome. We want to make that." And so they just jump to Batman vs Superman. They just jump to Justice League, and it's like you need to slow down. Like you need to stop and build it up. Do Man of Steel. Do Man of Steel 2. Do Wonder Woman. Do Flash. Do Aquaman. Do Batman, and then do Justice League. Then do Batman vs Superman. You know what I mean? I think the problem is not necessarily DC Comics or DC characters not being as cool as Marvel characters, and that's why they're not selling. I think the problem is more of a business side where the businessmen in the suits are saying we want to make money fast. We want that success right now, and so they think if they just make a big movie that his characters fighting each other, it'll have the same impact. And the thing is, it won't because you haven't built up that goodwill of why you should care about these characters. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know exactly. And I agree perfectly. Because just like, I get the impression with the business side that like, they seem to think that because, with Batman, the Christopher Nolan movies came out,
Right.
that based off of that information alone, that's enough to justify everything we need to know about Batman. Or because a Superman movie took place way back in the 80s and 70s, they don't have to explain Superman's character at all.
Right.
And so we have just these two characters that basically the studios are like, just do your homework and you'll catch up. And then we have to like jump to the final exam, i.e., them fighting each other. And we're just supposed to be emotionally invested, like right off the bat. And like, that's not how it works.
Yeah, cause I think that I've seen an argument going around that, like, no one knows who Iron Man is. No one knows who Captain America is. Why is that like more emotional than Batman and Superman? Everyone knows who those characters are, and I would say that, like, yeah, I definitely think the three biggest superheroes in the world are Batman, Superman, and Spider Man. Everyone knows who they are, but like they know them on the surface level. People who aren't comic book fans, they see Superman and say, "Oh, that's Superman." They know who that. They know him. They know his name, but they don't know what the character's about. They don't know what Batman's about, right? They don't know his backstory or, like, what he's been through and all that stuff. So I think it doesn't matter who the character is. You can't just write off the fact that, like, oh, they're popular, so it'll sell. Like, no, you need to build up an emotional connection to that character. Ben Affleck Batman, just like you were saying, is not Christian Bale Batman. That's a different character. So when you're going forward, you can't say, "Oh, everyone knows who Batman is, so we'll just move on." It's like, no, no, no. You have to establish why this Batman is important. Why is Ben Affleck Batman someone I should care about, and why I should get behind him hating Superman? Why I should get behind Superman not liking Batman. We had Man of Steel, but most of the movie he wasn't even Superman. He was kind of running away from what he had to be. So by the time he's actually Superman, it's like, okay, what does this Superman mean? Like, what are his principles? And why does he hate Batman so much? Because in the movie, he's like, oh, well, I don't like the fact that he kills vigilantes, basically. But then the first 10 minutes of the movie, he flies a terrorist through freaking 5 walls. And it's like,
Yeah.
That guy's dead.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're a murderer too, so where's your leg to stand on there,
Yeah, like, it's like Soups has beef with bats, but like he does the same thing. And it's just like, why are you guys fighting?
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like, not just the characters themselves, but like the pacing of the story specific to Batman v Superman. Just like, I have the DVD, I watched the extended cut like over and over again. So
Right.
I have my ideas about, or my own opinion about just everything to do with the movie. And it's just like, you have a 3-hour movie. The title of the movie is Batman v Superman. They spend like maybe 10 minutes max fighting. And then like the other half of the title, Dawn of Justice, Batman doesn't even come up with the bright idea of even starting the Justice League to the last 5 minutes of the movie. So I'm sitting
Yeah.
here thinking, what was I watching for 3 hours?
Exactly. Because,
Besides Wonder Woman kicking ass. But yeah.
yeah. Because, they're like, oh, we showed you clips of, Aquaman and Flash and Cyborg, so that means that we're introducing those characters. And it's like, we don't even know who those people are. I know who they are because I read the comic books, but most people are going to be like, what is this? Like, why are they being shown? Like, what do these characters have to do with the story right now? They don't have anything to do with the story. They're just putting them in as, like, trailers halfway through the movie instead of just putting them at the end or not putting them in at all, waiting until the next movie to introduce those characters properly.
And that's another thing too. It's like with Marvel, when they hint at something, it's I feel like it's specific to like comic book fans. Like they'll be able to recognize it more or less right off the bat. But then they'll like when they fully introduce it, they'll give it a proper introduction in like whatever the next movie that they're in.
Right.
With Batman v Superman, that quote unquote hint is the introduction. So by the time Justice League comes out, audience members are going to be expected to like know exactly who these people are. And that's kind of jarring for people who aren't comic book fans.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just too much to expect, you know? Like,
Yeah.
you aren't going to have the same level of attachment to the Justice League when the movie comes out like you do with the Avengers. Like when you see Thor fly in on top of that helicarrier, for the first time in that movie, you're like, oh my god, it's Thor, because you know who Thor is. You've watched his movie. They want you to have that feeling with like Aquaman and be like, oh, we saw Aquaman in that one email clip that Wonder Woman got, so you know who he is. So when he shows up, you're like, oh man, it's Aquaman. It's like, no, you won't have the same connection to that character. You're gonna be like, oh, I want to see Aquaman because I've read the comic books about him. I know who that character is off the movie screen, but like on screen, he's not set up. And I think the problem is they're looking at it as they exist outside of the film screen. You know, like those characters exist in the comic books now. They exist in the movies. I think they need to
Yeah,
look at it as just the movies. Like if these characters weren't anyone, they weren't named superhero characters. They were just characters in a movie. You know, story is still king. So you have to You have to write the story in a way that the characters are set up and established in their movie, in the movie that you're watching, not off screen in some other promotional material. Right? If I'm watching Justice League, I need to already know who they are, either from watching the film itself or from watching the film prior to this that as a prequel to this. You know what I mean, or whatever.
yeah,
Yeah, like once you're in the continuity, that's what matters. Everything outside the continuity doesn't matter anymore. It doesn't matter if there's 40 years of comic book history. That doesn't affect the movies. You have to go at them as their own standalone thing, and that's why I think Marvel has done pretty well, right? You know, there are people who
right.
know the Avengers, people who know who Ant-Man is, but people who don't know who Ant-Man is, but they can still watch Ant-Man and be like, "Oh, Ant-Man is a shrinking character. That's kind of cool," because they
Yeah,
establish it as a new IP. Basically, they assume you don't know who that is. They just start from zero.
right. And it's like what you said earlier. Like Marvel is focused on building their universe from like the very like the most like from the very bottom up. Like they start like with every grain of sand to every brick to every mortar, just building this beautiful castle that we can all enjoy.
Right.
Whereas DC, they just like throw a castle at me and expect me to know every square inch of how it was built.
They just launch it at you all at once. The whole freak castle.
Yeah, and it's just like that's a lot of house to get through, even as a comic book fan. And
Yeah.
it's like this house doesn't deserve that kind of treatment anyway. And then you're just, I freaking hate it.
Yeah.
But
So as
one
far
last riff about like, oh, what?
no, go ahead and finish your statement.
One last little thing is like this is kind of just a theory of mine. If DC wanted to go this route of putting the cart before the horse, they could have done it in a way that worked. And my theory is if they took like a book out of they took a page out of the book Days of Future Past and how Fox handled that. Like, because I noticed in BVS, like they had this whole hinting of Batman surviving the rule of Apocalypse and Darkseid and trying to get the heroes together. If they were trying to be like innovative at all or just intelligent with the story, what they should have done was like start the Justice League off, like just like first movie, but like have everybody not so much killed off, but like everybody scattered and have Batman go and find them, and maybe have like a time travel story to where Batman has to go and talk to himself to the past him to prevent whatever loss that took place to happen. And I thought that would have been a missed opportunity and be a really good idea considering what they're doing over at Warner Brothers.
Hmm.
But that's just my opinion.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not sure how it would work, just because. I mean, again, it's just having that foresight like Marvel has, but for that to work, you'd have to go back before even Man of Steel. You know what I mean? Like, that would have to be the first movie you made. Is this, like, Justice League, 2029 movie, where they're in the future, and then it's sort of like that first Star Trek reboot, where, like, it starts off in the future, and they go
Right.
back to
Yeah,
the original, you know what I mean? And then
yeah,
they
that's
kind
what I
of,
think Warner Brothers should that's the approach Warner Brothers should have taken if they were gonna go the whole team movies versus building up to team movies.
yeah. I don't know, well, but I feel like it's all, should have, could have, would have, but we are now, and I think Justice League's gonna come out this year. It's gonna come out in November. I am excited to see it, but I'm also cautiously optimistic. I
Right,
think
same.
Wonder Woman looks awesome. I'm looking forward to that
Yeah.
movie, and that movie can be awesome. But I think even if that movie is good, Justice League is the one that has to be good, because if Justice League is bad, if that movie is terrible, I honestly think it's just over. Like the DCCU as we know it is over. They're just gonna scrap it all and just start over.
Like I feel like it has to make a billion, otherwise you just can't justify going forward.
Yeah.
But it's like they paint themselves into this corner, so you can't really feel sorry for them.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just scary. Plus with this Flash page one rewrite, I think that also just again it just shows like I don't think they have a solid plan, and that's what makes it kind of scary. So we have to
Yeah,
wait and see.
and another thing, just to along the whole Warner Brothers DC management thing.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
you know very well that like Marvel, the movie universe, they have like one guy more or less orchestrating everything.
right.
So there's not as much confusion as to what's being implemented. There's like the directors, you know, they tell their individual stories, but like they have their guy that makes it more or less flow into this overall narrative. Whereas with DC, I don't think they have that. I don't think it's a priority to them. I feel like they're confident in what they have, which I don't think is working. So I feel like even if Justice League works, like they're just gonna keep making messes along the way because you know they're not doing everything in a way that makes sense. So that's just another thing.
Yeah, I've seen a lot from people that know more about movies than I do. um, is that Warner Bros. Just has too many cooks in the kitchen. You know, there's too many people who have their hands in the pie, and they don't have one solid figure like Kevin Feige has. You know, for Marvel, they don't have someone that is in charge. I remember they tried putting Jeff Johns as that guy a few months ago, but it seems like that hasn't. That's not the same thing. Like Jeff Johns isn't really Kevin Feige. You know, he's like their creative person that they go to, but he isn't the one in charge of it all. Or at least if he is, he hasn't shown he hasn't shown that level of control over the whole situation. So
Right. I feel
yeah,
like with Jeff Johns, it's like he too is kind of busy with multiple things. Like I think he's also in charge of the comic books as well.
yeah,
So his attention's divided.
yeah, yeah. And that's the thing. Kevin Feige is just the president of Marvel Studios. He doesn't also make comic books. Like that's just his job. He's the president of their film studio. And I think they need
Right.
to do that. They need to make someone in charge of like DC Studios or whatever, and just that's their job. They just oversee and produce all of their films and have one narrative. Um, so I don't know. All right, but real quick, let's move on into now we're actually getting into video game stuff. So
All right.
um,
All right.
real quick, we got two more stories here. We'll skip Kingdom Hearts just because you haven't played that yet, have you?
No.
Yeah, it's great. It's awesome. It's out. If you're a Kingdom Hearts fan, I don't know, pick it up. Maybe I might wait until it goes on sale, just because you're getting like Dream Drop Distance in HD. You're getting 2.8, which is 0.2, which is the new content, but it's like 3 hours long. So is it worth paying a full $60 for it? I mean, if you want to play Dream Drop Distance HD, then yes, but just getting it for the demo at the end, I don't feel like that's worth the price. So maybe wait till it's like $40. But that's all I'll say about that for now. But okay, so moving on, Dark Souls 3. They released their final DLC trailer. It's coming out March 28th. Are you a Dark Souls fan? Do you play Dark Souls at all?
I haven't played it, but it's one of those properties where like as soon as I get like a next gen console, that's like one of the first games I'd get. I've seen gameplay of it. I've also seen Bloodborne gameplays and walkthroughs and stuff like that. So
Yeah,
I'm sort of familiar, but like, yeah,
gotta make the jump, man. You're missing out on the train. You gotta switch over.
yeah, I'm benching pennies over here, man. What can I say?
Nah, man, just totally don't pay your rent and just buy a PS4.
Ugh.
That's all you gotta do. That's all that matters. But yeah, Dark Souls. I'm not the biggest Dark Souls fan, and I know I'm gonna get hate for that. That's fine, but I like Dark Souls as a series, and I think it's sad seeing Dark Souls end just because of how much it's done for video games and I guess the action game with quotes over it. So seeing this as the final DLC, I think it's kind of important to just mention just because this is it. This is literally the last piece of Dark Souls 3 content and probably the last piece of Dark Souls content you're gonna get in general. So I find that kind of fascinating because at this point going forward, unless they lie and they make Dark Souls 4, which that could always happen. Pretty much, you're just gonna get Bloodborne as your
Yeah, that'd be
main.
the trolliest thing ever.
Yeah. Oh, this is the final Dark Souls game. Psych. Here's Dark Souls 4. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I don't see that happening. I think Bloodborne is gonna be the new Dark Souls-esque game from Software going forward, and then they'll probably make some other new IP after that. And it might be in the same vein as Dark Souls, might have the same gameplay, but it'll probably be a different setting. It won't be knights and magic. It'll be like space. You know what I mean? Like something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Which
probably
could be
something different.
yeah, which I think would be awesome. We haven't really had a well, gaming has definitely gone more towards space and technology. I've noticed because like I feel like we've been in modern day pretty well. We've had like Modern Warfare, GTA. We've had like modern stuff, and then we've been in the past. With like historical past, and then also like high fantasy, like wizards and orcs and that kind of stuff. We've had a lot of that, but I feel like we haven't had too much space and future stuff until recently with like Infinite Warfare and some other games. So I feel like that's starting to become the new face. The new setting everyone wants to do is space now.
Yeah,
Like
one thing
Destiny.
I noticed
Yeah,
thinking about it is like we haven't had really a space kind of adventure where it's not a shooter.
yeah.
I mean, beyond like a Jedi game or something like that, or like a Warframe, but like there hasn't been a lot of like single player action adventure games where your main weapon isn't a gun and it's just you in space.
yeah. I think the biggest one, well, technically it was a gun in that game, but No Man's Sky was the biggest one recently I can think of that was about exploration, and that game was
Right.
terrible. So, yeah, but no, I feel you because I really like open world games, and we've gotten to a point now where open world games are becoming the standard, which is I think a good and a bad thing. I think we've kind of lost what open world games are really about, and as being a fan of them, I'm happy we get more of them, but I'm also kind of like, let's slow down a little bit.
Yeah, I've
But
noticed the trend myself, and it's just like there's kind of this war I'm noticing between like an open world and a sandbox, and just the differences between the two. And my perspective is just like the open world is like it's like a narrative that's told over the course of a setting. The thing is though, like every event you do, it leads into something bigger towards the end. Whereas like a sandbox is just you basically create your own adventure. Like nothing has to really connect with anything. It's just you going on a quest basically. And like there just seems to be this back and forth between both these concepts in the gaming industry that I've noticed at least.
right, yeah, yeah, exactly right. The sandbox is sort of like, hey, here are the tools, just have fun. Like kind of like a GTA City. They give you all these things to do, like parachuting. You can go whoring. You can, steal banks. You can do all this stuff, and it's just like go have fun. Versus like, I feel like an open world game done properly, like something like Witcher 3, which is an amazing video game, right? They create a living world for you to be in, but it's open, but it's also linear at the same time, which is sort of weird to kind of put your brain around. But like there is definitely a narrative drawing like driving you through this world. Like they're basically saying, here's the path we want you to take. Here's how we recommend you go through it, and then along the way you're getting story bits and you're finding more about where your daughter is and all these various things. So by the time you are finished, you feel like you've explored this very vast world, and it was all open. You could go anywhere at any time, but you've also been brought through this amazing story. So like they're basically like walking you through how to explore the world. I think that's how open world games that are like narrative focused should be done right, or being done correctly. But my point though, yeah, we've had those kind of games where it's like high fantasy, with like Skyrim or like modern day like GTA, but we haven't had a game that's truly open world third person action game that is set in like the future. You know what I mean, or is set in like
Yeah.
space. And
Yeah.
that's really why I'm excited for Cyberpunk 2077, which next game coming out from City Project Red, the guys that made Witcher 3. They're making a game set in like a very Total Recall, Blade Runner like setting, and
Okay.
that's super cool to me because we haven't had a very densely populated future city like that before. You can explore it in an open world setting, so that actually kind of cool. But yeah, I would love to see, I guess basically like a Star Citizen, but like I guess more of like a more of like a narrative focused game like that, but like a game where you can go from planet to planet and you kind of explore and do that kind of stuff. I guess, well, actually, it's basically like Mass Effect, but the Mass Effect is a shooter, so yeah, it goes to your point. So I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see, I guess. But
Yep. We're just gonna have to wait and see.
yeah. But go back to Dark Souls though, getting off topic. Yeah, I am excited for the DLC. I do kind of want to see what it brings story wise, just because I know Dark Souls has so much lore, and I am kind of curious to see where that all goes with the story and how it finally wraps up. So, okay, and then
Yeah,
the
I'm
last,
curious too.
yeah, yeah, and the last thing I had as far as video game news, and probably the last story we're in with for today, is Marvel and Square Enix. They announced a new game project called the Avengers Project, or the Avengers Reassemble, or whatever the hell it's called.
Right.
They posted on the Twitter account, hey, check out this event, and then the next day they released the trailer. It's like a minute or less. Trailer doesn't really show a whole lot. It just kind of shows flashes of the Avengers gear, like Captain America's shield and Thor's hammer. You know, one of Iron Man's gauntlets. But what's cool to me is basically they're just announcing that they're going to be working on this long-term project, making multiple games about the Avengers or about Marvel superheroes. So that's pretty cool. Some of the big developers behind this from Square Enix are Crystal Dynamics, which if you don't know them, that's the team that made the new Tomb Raider games, and Eidos Montreal, which is the team behind Deus Ex, Human Revolution, and Mankind Divided. So
I have played those games. Okay.
yeah, so I know people assume Square Enix, so they're like, oh, Final Fantasy or Kingdom Hearts. Nope, it's not. It's not even the Japan team. It's more of their Western teams. So, I mean, who knows? We might see something with Kingdom Hearts in the future, but this wasn't a Japan related event or Japan related announcement. This is definitely a more of their Western teams, which I think a lot of people don't even realize is Square Enix at all. They just think of Final Fantasy and Dragon Quest. They don't realize that like Tomb Raider and Hitman and Sleeping Dogs, Deus Ex, those games are all Square Enix. So
Yeah, I didn't know that initially anyway either. So
yeah. So that's cool. So I'm kind of curious. Like, do you think it's gonna be in those vein, like those kind of games? Like, do you think it'll be like a Tomb Raider, action adventure, Uncharted style game, like with the Avengers? Or do you think it'll be like a some kind of first person, like something like Deus Ex, or what do you think it's gonna be?
my thoughts. I think. Well, the way the gaming industry is now, I feel like it's going more towards like those big MOBAs like League or Dota or Warframe or something like that.
Yeah,
Or not Warframe, but like Smite.
sure.
But I think what's gonna happen in the future in games, like these types of games, are gonna be more console based. So you're gonna see a lot of like Overwatch esque styled games, but for like a console. That being the case, I feel like the news that Marvel released, I feel like it's gonna go more towards like what DC used to do with DC Online, where you just make your own heroes, but like borrowing essence from multiple, comic book characters within the DC universe. I feel like Marvel's just doing their version of that, and with like the trend of video games and seeing where everything is going, I feel like it's gonna be kind of a marriage of those two ideas put together. You're gonna see a lot of MOBAs inspired by like Marvel comic book characters, or there's going to be at least a huge degree of customization between, he's probably going to have parts of Iron Man, or just a lot of like creativity.
So you think it'll be more of a multiplayer experience?
Yeah.
Thinking online, like like a very like large multiplayer online game, like DC Universe Online, or like a MOBA. That's kind of what you're thinking it'll be.
Yeah. I mean, it's hard to say given what little information they've given us, but that's where my head is as far as that is concerned.
Yeah. See, personally, I would absolutely hate that. I think that's like, I mean, that's probably very likely. But like, I don't want that at all. Like, I would like something in the vein of like the Arkham Knight games. You know what I mean? Like a very
Yeah,
hardcore single player deep story experience like something we see in Tomb Raider. You know what I mean? Like I would love that third person game where you play as the Avengers, or play as characters, from the Avengers, or maybe one character from the Avengers or whatever. You can like pick your story, and it's very much like a world you have to explore, like a world trotting, globe trotting adventure game. Like I would like that, just personally, just because we haven't had, I think, a good game like that from Marvel since the Spider-Man games, and even then, like you could argue they were okay, but then they started to like go downhill. Um,
right.
I know we have that new one coming out from Insomniac, the new Spider-Man game,
Yeah,
but
I've seen.
yeah, but I mean, we haven't had a game like that with Marvel characters besides the freaking Lego games. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't had a game where you're playing as Captain America or Iron Man, and it's not like one of those shit movie tie-in games. But it's like an actual good, uh, third-person story experience. So I don't know.
I mean, yeah, I like what you said. That's what I would love to see, but I don't have a lot of faith in the gaming industry as a whole as far as their ability to please the fans. But at the
Right?
same time, I'm still optimistic
Yeah,
in a small way.
yeah. I mean, Crystal Dynamics does some pretty good work. I think Rise of Tomb Raider was fun, and so was the first Tomb Raider. So um, you know, I I think they make good games, and I think the people that make Deus Ex make good games, and also too, Marvel said they're making multiple games. It's not just one series of one game. They're making a series of games. That could mean they're all like that could mean like sequels of the same games. They make the first one and they make sequels, or that could mean multiple. Like more than one. They could make both of those. They could make a single player game, and they could make a multiplayer game. And we don't really know yet.
Thinking about it, I have another theory. Maybe they're doing what they did with the cinematic universe, but like with freak video games and that kind of like action, single player action adventure type vein, where
Yeah.
you have a bunch of multiple heroes going on their separate journeys in different video games, like just like really intense, true to the character Arkham level loyalty, but like in game mode, and then have all these games span over the course of a couple of years or whatever, and then have like this huge mega super AAA IP come IP come out, and like all the characters are there, and like maybe it's like a multiplayer experience, and then everybody can just like go to town. And I think that'd be pretty fun thinking about it. But that's just another theory I just came up with. So
Yeah. Yeah, no, I mean, exactly. I would love that. I would love something where very, like you're saying, like character study, like very true to the character, like a Captain America game, a Thor game, and then somehow making a game where all those different gameplay styles come together. That would be awesome. I don't know how they do it. I have no idea. I have no idea how you make a game like that work and make it feel balanced and everything. But
yeah,
yeah, that's what I would like personally. But no, I definitely agree with you that I think the obvious answer is like, yeah, it's going to be some multiplayer game that everyone can play online together, or some kind of like top down game, like maybe in the vein of like
yeah,
Marvel Ultimate Alliance. That was a big game that came out for PS2. I remember back in the day, and then even the game they have right now, Contest of Champions, is doing really well for them. That's also a multiplayer game, so they might want to stick to more towards that vein. And like I said, I think they can do both. I just hope that they also make a single player experience somehow, somewhere in there. I want that personally, but you know,
I
we have to wait
want
and see.
it, and I hope they do it. But I'm not sure that the gaming industry is at all gonna move in that direction again, because everything just seems to be so online community based.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, all right. Well, was there? I think that was all the news we had for this week. I'm gonna wrap it up here. Was there anything else you wanted to add at all? Say to your fans, your new fans you just gained.
Oh, hi everybody.
All right.
Yeah, I don't really don't really have
Well,
much to say. Stay safe. Don't kill anybody.
yeah, lots of that going around, especially with the current state of affairs.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's the world we live in. But alright guys, thanks so much for watching this video. It's been a blast talking with all of you about games and movies. Let me know in the comments down below. What do you feel about today's topics? Do you want to see a Marvel MOBA, or do you want to see a Marvel third-person game? Do you like the Star Wars title that came out, Last Jedi, or you think it sucks? I don't know. Let us know in the comments down below. I'm definitely grateful to talk with you guys in the comment section. Like, subscribe, all that YouTube stuff, that you see everywhere, that I just repeat on this video to get views. I'm not a sellout or anything. I just make videos sometimes. That's fine.
Yeah, and to all the fans out there, Ben's, who are just realizing that Ben's a total bitch when it comes to scary stuff, feel free to let your voices be heard in the comment section.
I'm not. Look, I just look. I'm not a bitch.
He is a total bitch.
Right? It's not my taste. I don't like bitch. I like action movies and comedies. I want to watch a movie and feel good about myself. I don't want to watch it and piss my pants. All right, or feel like someone's gonna come and get me. The heck's wrong with you, huh? You want to feel like someone's trying to attack you? You want to feel afraid? All right. That's stupid.
There's more to life than just feeling good.
Movies are entertainment, okay? I should be entertained.
Horror can be entertaining as well.
No.
Comment section, just please do this conversation justice.
Alright guys, thanks so much for watching. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Bye.